All right, what is going on, guys? It is time for another episode of the Chasing Waypoints podcast. And we're back. We are back with another In the Bivouac, and if you have already read the title, you have already know where we're going. These guys, this guy, responsible for bringing probably one of the hottest bikes in Rally Raid at the moment, bringing that to the United States. We're going to be in the Bivouac with none other than Gary Goodwin. We'll be calling him here in just a few minutes. But pretty crazy, right? Out of nowhere. You know, we were talking to Lizzie a couple weeks ago, and she mentioned it's kind of like there was a buzz going on, and then all of a sudden, boom, 3 Koves and a factory team finished the Dakar, which is absolutely crazy. And then Mike Johnson completes a Sonora Rally and then turns around and then goes and completes the Nora Rally. Mexican 1000. This thing is wrapping up some pretty impressive results. So we're going to talk to Gary Goodwin a little bit about that program and what is going on as the Kove makes its way into the United States. My understanding, we do have a few bikes already stateside and a few more coming. Especially the Rally Pro. I think the Rally Pro is the one that a lot of people are looking for. But I don't know. I'm kind of digging the adventure one, especially if you got room to put a tablet on there and, you know, go see Willem Abenden about a tablet setup, you know, and all of a sudden you've got a rally bike. So I am definitely interested in seeing a little bit more about how this bike is going to progress. And how it is going to make, I mean, shit, maybe we might even have one in the garage. Maybe it'll make its way into the garage. Who knows? I got to make some room, obviously. We don't want the 790 getting jealous. But I don't know. I mean, you know, if you guys have already seen, you've seen the review with Jimmy Lewis and his riding. I mean, the bike looks really impressive. Obviously, Jimmy Lewis, Dakar competitor, instructor, all around badass when it comes to riding motorcycles, put it through its paces and had nothing but good things to say. So I think that is definitely a great start to this. I really do think. I mean, I know there's a lot of haters out there. There's a lot of people going, it's not gonna. Well, it's, you know, it's quickly racking up the results, the finishes. And that, I think, is what's important, right? And if we're being realistic, the majority of us out there want a reliable bike. A majority of us are not fast enough to compete for the top spots at some of these races. And I know there's people listening right now going, well, I am. And that's perfectly fine. You're going to push that bike probably harder than most of us will, which is absolutely great. But for the vast majority, reliability. And actually for you, the fast guy, you know, what is it? To finish first, you must first finish. So very, very interesting. I am absolutely looking forward to it. Let's see if we can get Gary on the phone here in just a second. Talking about the Kove. I'm going to grab the phone here and plug it in. Let's see where we're at. Let's not play music. That's not what we're looking for. All right. Let's turn the volume up here, see if we can get him on the phone.
Hello, this is Gary.
Gary, how are you, sir?
Hey, doing great. How are you?
Yeah, doing all right. It is a warm, sunny day down here in San Diego. Where are you at?
Yeah. I'm in Utah now. I'm actually at the shop, and it's been really, really hot here as well.
Oh, you see triple digits as well up there?
Yeah, this week will probably the next couple weeks. It's been around 100, 103 or so, like something like that. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So sounds like warm weather durability testing.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Okay.
We did some of that this last week.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So in the intro, I say you're responsible for getting one of the hottest bikes in Rally Raid to the States. So
Yeah.
The buzz around the Kove has been absolutely insane.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a bit of a whirlwind the last 6 months and trying to get it out. And it's starting to finally take shape, which is great.
Yeah. And so you've been now, correct me if I'm wrong, with GPX and a couple other brands. You have your own company. You've done importing and worked with other manufacturers. How did Kove end up on your radar?
Yeah. So, I've been going over to China a long time, since 2005. And so I've worked with a lot of different factories over there. And I've known of Kove, probably about 6 years now. They've been pretty popular in Asia and in China for a 500 twin adventure bike that they have, that they've been selling a lot of domestically in China. And it's been really well received. It's definitely one of the better Chinese bikes out right now as far as that 500. It's been, I think they sold 25,000 of them last year, so they're doing really well with that. I first saw the rally concept and talked to them. The rally concept, it's been about 3.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of testing, lots of things going on to get it to the point where it's at right now. That's kind of just a quick history of how I've known of them.
Yeah. Interesting. So it was just, to me, Kove is a few months, a year earlier than this most recent Dakar. I had never heard of them as a motorcycle manufacturer.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So the Rally 450, it's been out, as far as being tested, for about 3 years now, since just kind of right before COVID is when they were really first testing the bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Been quite a few different revisions and things like that to get them to the point right now. And the first batch of off-road bikes has shipped and left the factory, and we should see those here probably in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Nice. And that's been, that's been a long fought battle, because obviously we get the shipping delays, and trying to get everything here in time is always a challenge.
Sure.
So you guys after the Dakar, I know, were you down at Sonora Rally?
I was. Yeah, I was down there. When was that now? I can't think. Was it March, February? When was it? April? I can't remember.
April. I know, right?
April. Yeah.
It just blends all together.
Kind of a whirlwind. Yeah, I was down there in April with the factory guys. They had Nils, the French rider there, and Sunye, the Chinese rider, and then probably heard. I guess you did have Mike Johnson on there on your podcast, so you've kind of heard his story of all that. And it was really good to be down there with the factory, and really good to see some of the changes, some of the improvements, things like that are going into the production bikes. It's just awesome to work with those guys, because they get it. They know what the testing is, and they get the needs and then, the improvements that need to be made. So it's been really helpful and really good to work with those guys at the races.
Yeah. And you guys have already done, the Sonora Rally, then the Mexican 1000, and that kind of alluded to one of the questions that I had is, so they are pretty responsive, and are they, because usually what I see happen with manufacturers is that they find an issue, they work on kind of covering it up, and then all of a sudden 6 to 8 months later, there's a revision that comes out of something. Uh-huh. How responsive is Kove, and how are they pretty quick to change stuff, or? Well,
the thing that's, I've been chomping at the bit for this bike for a long time. And so I've been pestering them for 3 years, like, come on, send me a sample. And, it was frustrating, but the good thing is that they didn't, because they wanted to make sure things are right. Mm-hmm. And so I got my first samples in February, and, that we kind of hit it running and went right to some of the review guys, because we wanted to get their reviews and opinions and things like that. And some of the feedback that we've been doing and the reviews that we've been doing, we have got a lot of good feedback. And, there are a few fine details that are going into the production bikes, because the samples that I've had are kind of a pre-production model. They're part of a a Chinese domestic run that was done, not part of the export models.
Okay.
So it's been cool to see them make updates and changes that way.
Nice. That's good. I mean, and I for the better, right? Because I think you and I both know, I mean, that there's a lot of people out there. There was a crowd that's obviously getting smaller. They were like, oh, it's a Chinese bike. It's not going to work. It's not going to do this. And then when it finished the Dakar, the Sonora Rally, and the Mexican 1000. So I know that group of haters is getting smaller quick.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, we still hear about stuff pretty regularly. I mean, it's just part of it. But that's okay. It's fun.
I know, right?
Fun.
I mean, the price point is there. The 2 versions I think is awesome. At first I was like, the rally one would be really cool, but now, thinking it's like, no, you could probably do a tablet on the adventure version of it and still be good to go for 98% of the stuff that the mere mortals want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And then, there'll be lots of updates and changes. You can do aftermarket options to the standard model as well to kind of make it a crossbreed of a race model and get kind of the best of both worlds if you're into that.
Yeah. Nice. And so, I mean, with that being said, the options and stuff like that, have you guys been working, we kind of know you guys have been working with some of the aftermarket companies already here stateside, right?
Yeah, we're trying to get them in the hands of as many of the guys that, and if there's things that people want to see, I'd love to hear about it. But we're trying to get them in the hands of those, kind of common aftermarket parts that a lot of guys use. C Concepts, Recluse, Cyclops lights. Those guys are all working on different things. And then we've had bikes at Rocky Mountain ATV. They're just down the road from us. And so they do a really good job of kind of crossing over and seeing what commonalities and things like that there are with the bikes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's all kind of steamrolling and in the works, and we'll all be available on the site and through Rocky Mountain ATV, MC, and stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, that's obviously a huge part of it is that if they have a aftermarket following and aftermarket support, that's a big ease for a lot of people, because that's always the question. Well, what about parts? What about blah, 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 Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we're trying to put everybody's minds at ease and get as much aftermarket support as we can that way. Definitely.
Nice. Yeah. And I mean, and I've already seen the post. I'm in the Kove group, and I've seen, that looks like there's a new engine for the rally bike that they're working on, something that's lighter and, Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's still a few years away, but Kove is a very progressive company, and they want to win. Nice. They want to compete. Right now, the engine that's in it, it's very good. It's very solid, very reliable. Mm-hmm. It's probably down 10 horsepower from like a pro race level KTM or something like that. So, for the adventure guys, for the dual sport guys, and even the recreation type rally guys, I mean, they can go out, they can compete, they can do really well. I mean, Nels just finished 4th, I think, in France or 4th or 5th, I can't remember. Mm-hmm. And Mike Johnson, he was right there running with guys with big KTMs down there. So, I mean, they're certainly capable, mm-hmm. but the factory also, kind of some of the history of where this motor came from, what it is, and how it functions and works right now, it's perfect, in my opinion, for exactly that adventure type segment. Mm-hmm. If you're one of the top 5-10% type of dudes that are going to be at Dakar and they got to have that huge horsepower, they are going to be a little bit of a disadvantage because it doesn't quite have that, I mean, I hear people claim 70 horsepower out of a KTM 450 rally bike. I don't know if that's true, but it seems a little bit high to me. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of the story of it. I can explain kind of what the engine is and what they're going for. I don't know what kind of information you're looking for that way, but. Well, I mean, I think you hit a really good point there. And I remember in the off-road industry, it was all about wheel travel. I have 36 inches of travel. And on the bikes, it seems like the horsepower. But at the end of the day, the majority of us don't have the talent I'm down on I'm down 5 horsepower, man. That's making all the difference. Most of us aren't going to notice that. Actually, I think I was actually looking for a 350 for myself for that very same reason. I have a 501. The thing is an animal. Well, you back off the horsepower a little bit. You can actually ride it a little harder and have more fun with it.
Exactly.
So what do you want? I mean, Jimmy Lewis rode the thing. I mean, he put some miles on it, and I mean, the bike looked really good. I mean, that was the video for me that said, like, okay, if that's the stock suspension and watching it work, I'm like, okay, this thing is.
That's just it. Yeah, for sure.
As a package. And then I did see a spy shot, or I did see the shot that was posted. I believe it was from Cyclops with that third light up top, right under the windscreen there. Yeah, they've come up with that. I actually haven't even picked that bike up yet or seen that one yet. But we left that bike with them for a while, and they've been messing around with it. We'll probably pick that up in a couple of weeks and kind of check out their light system. But and then that bike also has the Recluse in it, so you can do the auto clutch, or Recluse also is doing their heavy duty, whatever they call it, their clutch fibers. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to have the manual clutch option from Recluse, or the core type auto clutch from them. So, dude, that's awesome. I mean that. I think that's the biggest thing is like, okay, well, I got the bike now. Especially for people like me that love to tinker with it, I cannot leave anything stock. Ooh, this is better. Yeah. I know this is better. It has to be better. I'll never notice the difference, but I know it's better in my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. So what are the next, you got the next batch. What's in the works? Like, what's coming?
Okay. Yeah, so right now the first batches have shipped. It's about 74 bikes, and those ones are the off-road models. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, technically we can't import them yet as a 50-state model. We do have models at the labs being tested now. Paperwork is in the process on all of that. Just based on things I've seen from other factories and timeframes and that. It's usually probably about a year to get that done, and we're into it about 6 months right now. Okay. Things are progressing. Things are going that way to be full street legal certified models, but as it is, in the meantime, we will import them as off-road models. Mm-hmm. And, and that's kind of more of a state by state type thing. Some states you may be able to get them road tag, other states you can't. We can't make any claims that you're going to be able to be street legal or things like that. I mean, you know how it is. People have their workarounds in certain states and things, but that's just kind of where it's at, because the models that we are importing are strictly off-road models, and we have to sell them as such. Mm-hmm. Once we have the full certified street models, then we'll start taking deposits on those models and get those on order. But my guess is those specific models are probably 6 to 8 months away. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like you said, I mean, in the meantime, I'm in California, so I think we set the bar here, or I'm not going to say we because I don't believe in the, but California kind of sets the bar. You know, when they say 50 state legal, it's because California approved and everybody else follows suit.
Yeah, exactly.
But with you, I absolutely see plates from other states here on bikes that,
for sure.
And I just kind of look at it as it is what it is. I mean, they don't get ridden enough to say that they're, it's because they don't have a turn signal. It's because, just basic issues, basic things. So anyway, I mean, it'll be really cool to start seeing some of these on the street. And I think as an adventure bike, that since that middleweight adventure bike class got so hot, I think that this is like that right, like just a little bit lighter, just a little bit, because those things are still heavy. I mean, I have a 790, and that thing is, even with all the stuff I've done to it, it's still heavy. So something like this.
Yeah, I've had the 790. I have the 890 now as well, and I'm in the same boat. I mean, I'm 51 years old now, and picking up an 890 or a 790, it's a lot of work. Yeah, and most of the time when I do adventure rides or backcountry rides, stuff like that, we try to mix it up, as much as we can with some fun, technical, different things, and challenge it and see how it goes. And so that's yeah, I mean, I've done those kind of things on 690s and 701s and 950 Super Enduros, the 890s. So, I mean, all those things, and they all have great pluses and minuses, but there's definitely a lot of diversity and crossover with the rally for sure. It's pretty fun that way. It's exciting that way because there's so many opportunities for different trails you can do.
Yeah, and that's good to know. I mean, in comparing both, because I know that there's a lot of people that are listening to have, the 790 kind of dominated the market to the middleweight. What are besides the weight, are there any other big distinctions between the two?
Well, I just got back. I just did an 800-mile ride on actually Sunye's race bike, and then we had the other standard demo model as well. Mm-hmm. And I've spent some time on them, but I haven't gone like a week back to back to back, riding it every day. And sometimes it kind of takes that to get the nuances and figure out the bike and what it's doing. And one of the concerns I had was, how's this thing going to do on the highway, long distance times? And yesterday on our way back, we did 220 miles of highway, which we didn't really want to do because I just don't like highway. It's kind of boring, but I was pleasantly surprised. It did really well. But on the way down, I usually kind of make my own routes, and sometimes Google Earth and what the map says is not what reality is. And so we got into some situations where we had to take about 12 miles of single track. And I was certainly glad I was on my Kove rather than on my 890 at that point, so. I mean, on the highway, the 220 miles back on the highway, I mean, maybe the 890 is a little bit better, but I don't think it's substantially huge improvements better. But there's just no way I would have wanted to take the 890 where we took the Koves on a lot of the other areas we did on this last ride. So everything has a trade-off. The 890 is a great bike. The T7 is a great bike. It all just depends on, what you're looking for, what you want to do. But I feel like right now, as it is, I don't think there's a bike on the market that has as much crossover ability and diversity of what the Kove has. Yeah. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you. I share that opinion. It looks like the size is right. It's got the fuel capacity for it, which is with 7 gallons, 8 gallons?
Yeah. I think I say 7.9. Yeah. 30 liters, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got the fuel capacity. You got enough engine to get you into trouble and to get you from A to B, So I agree. I think that's the segment. Now, I don't know. It would be interesting to see, because I had heard that KTM was talking about a 500cc twin adventure bike, but then all of a sudden it just vanished and, things are going out. So okay, cool. But I think it's really tough to, in a twin market. I really think no matter what you do on a twin, you're still only going to get your weight down so far, and you're still, what I mean? It's just tough to get it down to that aggressive type weight that they need to be in order to try some of the single track type stuff and things like that, No doubt a twin cruise is nice and smooth and everything that way. But yeah, like I said, everything has a plus and minus to it. Yeah. So I guess you hit in is you just got to be realistic with what you actually intend to do. And if you're coming from an off-road dirt bike background, the 790 is very attractive because, well, it's orange and the suspension is there and yada, yada, yada. But a dirt bike guy might find himself more comfortable on something that's still more of a dirt bike, but that's got the fairings and the fuel capacity.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good.
And it really, I feel like it's kind of in the middle too. It's not it's definitely not the twin because of the weight and everything, but it's also not a 450 that's got all the dual sport and big tanks and all that, because in my opinion, the handling of a fully modded, say like CR 450 or KTM 450 or 500, no matter where you put the weight, your big fuel tanks and things like that, it's not a rally bike design. And there's differences that make a big difference in a rally bike design versus a built enduro, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The fuel being in the wrong place, up high instead of down low, and spread
fuel
across
being
the
in the wrong place. Yeah, exactly. Airbox, just ease of maintenance, the windscreen. I mean, there's a lot of little things that make, whether it's a Kove rally bike or any rally bike, there's a lot of things that make rally bikes do what they do very well. And, part of that is lightweight adventure.
Yeah. Now, something I'm curious about is I've subscribed to the program of suspension, before you really do anything else is do the suspension.
Yeah.
Is this something that, if I got a local guy, like Ty Davis or Crow or one of those guys here local, right? Any good local suspension guy, is this going to be a foreign shock, a foreign fork to them, or they should be able to figure it out pretty quick?
They should be able to figure it out pretty quick. We're going through a lot of different crossover things with that right now. There is a lot of Showa stuff that crosses over, and we're kind of diving into some of that to see all of the options and different things that are available, but there'll definitely be plenty of options and things available that way. But I would say before anybody jumps into all that, make sure they go ride it and hammer it and beat the hell out of it and figure out where they need to go or what they think they need to do, because I feel like it's really pretty dang good stock. And there is some, fine tuning. Everybody can benefit from fine tuning, but, just to kind of give you an idea, on the Sonora Rally. So, Sun Ye, the Chinese rider, if he's 120 pounds, I'd be surprised. And then you've got Mike Johnson, who's 200 pounds, and then Nils is right around probably 200 pounds. And, Nils and Sunye had planned to, airship in their stock suspension. I mean, not their stock suspension, their race suspension. And just because we had the bikes airshipped in to me here in Utah, and then I had to transport them down to Sonora. So they didn't have any time to do anything with the bikes, basically. But they were bringing their suspension with them, but everything got stuck in customs. So all three of those guys, Nails is an A+ rider and pro level. And, Mike Johnson, he's a great rider too, more of a vet type rider. And then you got Sunye, that's a young guy that's super lightweight. They all ended up running exactly the same suspension, exactly the same spring rates all the way across the board. And, Nels made some comments that it was a little too soft, but he still ran it. He still did fine on it. And then this 800-mile ride I just did, I was riding Sunye's bike with stock suspension, and I'm 210 pounds, plus I had 30 pounds of gear, so it's something in my case where I would probably, I think the stock spring rate's a 5.4. I'd probably go to a 6 if I'm setting it up for myself, but it's stuff that it's functioning and working like it should. It's not doing like crazy bottoming out or pogo stick or whatever. I mean, everybody's probably ridden one of those bikes that just the suspension is, you can tell it's just not even close. And so I think people, like I said, people ride them, check them out. And then let's talk about, fine tuning it, because they really are going to work really, really well for a lot of people,
Yeah. Well, that's really good to know that the broad range and what you're saying is very true. It's like that is universal across the board. Before you mess with it, go ride, because then otherwise you're not going to know what to tell the suspension guy you need. Exactly. Yeah. But it sounds like in doing that, you're going to discover that it's probably, again, we go back to, what is it, the 60-40 rule. It's going to be good for at the very least 60% of the people out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to hop on it and be like, oh my gosh, I can't ride this thing. I mean, it's going to be something that they need to fine tune, just like any other bike, but
it may be hard for them. It may be hard for them to explain actually what it needs.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So that's good to know. So, all right. So if everybody's, at this point, everybody's seen the reviews and everybody's seen the stuff. And I think a lot of minds are being made up about like, okay, it's time to, put a deposit down, get something going. What's this? How does one make that happen?
Yeah. So right now, the first batch of the 74 bikes, those are pre-sold and they are sold out. And we've just been taking $500 or $1,000 deposits on those. And yeah, they right now, as it is, depending on how customs goes and everything, we are anticipating those about the 20th of August. The second and third batches are leaving the factory probably next week, so they're just shortly behind the first batch.
Okay.
And we are taking deposits on those ones right now. So the second and third batches are not sold out yet. So, gotcha. Yeah, you can go through gpxmoto.com. They're kind of temporarily on that shopping cart right now where you can do a deposit, or kovemoto-usa.com. And that's the best way to get a hold of us, or just through email or anything that way. So,
okay. So that makes it, I'm actually working my way to the website here just to check it out, see if there's any, there it is, Kove USA. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. A lot of stuff's being added to the site now. We've kind of temporarily been using the GPX Moto website, but yeah, the Kove Moto-USA will be a standalone for Kove products.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, they got, so for those playing the home game, it looks like, yeah, you got I see the clay model here version, some team photos, and cool. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot to be seen on the, just on the page, just some pictures there, and then latest.
Yeah,
it's cool. Okay, yeah, for sure. These photos look familiar. This looks like Simon Cudby's handiwork.
Yeah, he's the man. It's pretty awesome. It's been a lot of fun. I've been able to get to know and work with a lot of really great people. You know, the Koves are, it's something that's really opened a lot of doors for me, and a lot of great people that I've been able to meet. So, and Simon's, he's, everybody knows Simon. He's the best there is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a question, and in regards to this, so how tall are you? And if just really quick, can you tell me about the buffeting and all that?
Yeah, I'm 6'1", like a 32-inch, it's kind of short legs, 32-inch inseam, 6'1". The bike that I rode, I had the race bike has about a 2 or 3 inch taller windscreen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it's nice. I think I would probably, if I set up my own bike, I would probably do that, just because I think it gives you just a little bit more on the highway.
Okay.
I didn't feel like it had when I think of buffeting, it's more of kind of inconsistent turbulence.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like I have inconsistent turbulence, but I do have kind of it keeps it all off of my chest and shoulders, but it's hitting me in about the head area.
Gotcha.
So pretty standard that way. But I think for what it is, it does really, really well. It's certainly not GS 1250 or whatever like that as far as wind protection, but it's not an open-faced enduro either. To me, it's perfect for what the bike is. In my imagination, I think most guys are going to use this for mostly off-road adventure with street adventure mixed in, but not the street adventure as the priority.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
yeah. I think that was something I remember back in my days at BMW, it was everybody, it was there was two schools. They wanted a 28-inch tall windshield that looked like it had satellite reception. Because of the buffeting. But my argument always was, well, the helmet that you're wearing was designed in a wind tunnel in clean air.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, but that's cool. So are the windscreens interchangeable though? Like if
they are, yeah. So you could put the taller one on the standard models. Yeah.
Okay.
And you're probably going to ask how much that is, but I don't have that priced out yet, but we will have it next week. They're pretty reasonable.
Yeah, the price of the bike is reasonable, so I wouldn't assume that anything like you look at a KTM Rally Factory replica, you lay it down on its side and you smoke a tower, and then you got to go apply for financing.
Yeah, I think I've had other people make comments about that, like on the skid plate and stuff like that. Like, I think a replica skid plate's, I don't even know, $1,400 I can't remember.
Yeah.
And, we'll be in the couple $100 margin there. So
which is, that's more, that plays along the lines like for a skid plate for a 790 is roughly about that. It's a big piece of metal. It's not a glide plate like it is on dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hope, or I would imagine that probably like Givy or one of these other companies may jump on and create some stuff as well for it aftermarket.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of guys kind of working on some aluminum skid plates, and I haven't found one that I think is very good yet. We'll kind of watch that and see. And then we are working with a company called SXS. They do a lot of enduro type skid plates and things like that. They have one of our skid plates now, and looking at not so much creating a whole new skid plate, but basically creating a UHMW Delron type belly pan that can go on the existing plate. Just kind of like a 1/4 inch thick thing that just gives a little more glide to it, protects a little bit more in the rocks and stuff like that.
Right where it needs to be. I'm a fan of that. I used to do the aluminum skid plate thing, but I'm become more of a fan of the high density HDPE, that kind of stuff. You know, I think it glides better, and then for some reason it doesn't reflect the sound as much as aluminum does. For sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty good option that way, because I'm the same way. I mean, the carbon fiber works really well as long as it's not a heavy rock impact that can crack it or whatever, although I had a couple pretty good ones of those, and the skid plate's still all intact and it did its job. It is cracked a little bit, but I anticipated that, I guess.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
So I had another call coming in there. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Good. I mean, aftermarket support, bikes are coming in. It sounds like batches 2 and 3, not far behind. Yeah. So Kove Moto USA. This is going to be crazy. I just like, this is going to be the bike. I think it's going to be the bike for a while, because I really don't see KTM or any of the other guys bringing in a bike like that, into the US. So for those, and then readily available, and then the fact that you could buy 2.5 of these for what you would pay retail on a RFR. Yeah. And the RFR is great, but she's a little high strung. She's a little high maintenance.
Yeah. That's kind of, I don't want to bore you with the ideas of this engine and how it came about, but to me, it's not the perfect engine for those top 5 guys who are going to go try to race the car, but it's the perfect engine for everybody else. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because originally it was designed as an Asian domestic adventure bike. It's made by a company called Zongshin, and it was a single cam version. It's a very big, heavy, bulky bottom end. Kove started on this project, like I said, 3 years ago with that single cam engine, and it just doesn't have enough power to go compete or even, race in Dakar. It's just down on power with that single cam. And so Kove, the owner of the factory, he is an engineer, and he worked with CF Moto, which, if everyone is familiar with CF Moto, they've got a lot of crossover with KTM, and they work with KTM. And so the one thing that's happened in China over the last 5 years is lots and lots of technology has gone there, because, all the major brands are working out of China as well. And so you got a guy that breaks off, goes and does his own thing, working with Zongshin, and he basically took that single cam 450 and said, let's get some power to this thing and let's make it work. And so that's what they've done, is they've developed the twin cam engine to go with that. And then they have a exclusive contract with the engine manufacturer on that. But what it's done, it's great because the bottom end was designed, like I said, as an adventure bike. The RX, Zongshin RX4, I think is what they call it. Different top end, same bottom end, but they're using those in Asia and domestic and different markets, and very big, very bulky. The thing that's nice about it is it carries almost 2 liters of oil. So versus taking most of these other rally replica type bikes. I mean, originally design of a lot of those engines were really kind of generated more as a motocross type bottom end, which doesn't carry any oil capacity, very lightweight, which is great, but they're really not designed as they're designed as a race bike. They're not designed as an adventure type bike.
Yeah.
So this bottom end was designed with that in purpose. And, like I said, they're racing that, but it's not a race engine really. You know what I mean? It's more of an adventure engine, truly.
Mm-hmm.
The root of it.
Yeah. But that's actually really good knowledge, because for those playing the home game, I mean, when you think about service intervals and you think about, just the reliability of it, you almost double the oil capacity on board than you would one of these others. I mean, the KTMs, they knew they were racing from a pit to a pit. So for them to do an oil change just because it's day 3, it's not a big deal because they're in a pit. But for some people that, especially doing the adventure bike riding side of things, they're going to probably put in a couple of rides before they consider changing the oil.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that Jimmy Lewis, he talked a little bit about that on his podcast or on his review, and they did 1,500 miles and changed the oil, and it was great. It's clean,
nice,
and so
yeah, I can say is I'm a very big fan of the you never know, be careful how you judge things, and I'm enjoying kind of seeing the hater crowd shrink on this as the bike continues to gain support. It's the buzz. More and more of them are being reviewed, and the majority of them are, they're all positive reviews. Actually, I don't think I've heard anybody say the bike is trash. The bike, no, don't throw your money away like they did with the 790. I mean, I did see reviews that like that for the 790, but I don't know if they were just, they didn't like that Kool-Aid or what, but this is, this has been very, very positive, which is awesome to see. And especially at the price point. I mean, that's just,
I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised. I mean, it's something probably that once they're fully street legal certified, we'll probably have to bump the price a little bit, but we're going to still try to keep it as competitive as we can. But just $80,000 to $100,000 that it costs to get the full street EPA certification, we've got to price some of that in there and try to make up some of that. But the off-road models, and like I say, a price increase is pretty minimal. I don't think it'll be much on that. So
yeah, but I mean, and it would open it up to be sold in California.
Yeah, exactly.
Just say that because that's really what it is. You could say if you could sell it in California, you can sell it in the rest of the states.
It really is. It's mostly California because a lot of other states you can work around. But and then there's also people don't want to have to do a workaround, and I don't blame them. We want it to be a full street legal option for everybody too, where there's not any question. So and okay, and I mean, I think even right now, I mean, if the bike went up another $500 and you're $10,500, you can't walk into a dealership and buy anything equivalent for $10,500. Yeah,
brand new.
$1,500. That'd be a $1,500 increase.
Yeah,
$95.
Yeah, it's that's right, $95. I'm thinking the other. What bike was I thinking of? No, okay, so $9,000 right now is the Adventure.
Yeah, that's the standard models. Yep,
the standard, and then the Pro version though is like 12.
13.9, yeah.
13.9. And I usually refrain from talking prices because this podcast will be around forever. And it's like, I remember back in the day you said it was this much. Well,
I'm sure we'll get those calls later on.
You said it on this podcast, and that was the price then, and this is now. So price is valid for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Nice. So what else do we need to know about the bike? I mean, is this any other things, the dealer network, the dealer support? Are you guys signing up dealerships and franchises?
Yeah, we are.
How's this working?
Yeah, so some of our previous products that we've distributed and imported, some of the stuff, Pitster Pro and the GPX bikes, there are some of those dealers that will take them on, and then we are establishing a lot of new dealers as well. It'll be kind of treated as a separate dealership. USA Motor Toys is my company, and we distribute and wholesale the bikes to dealers, and so kind of have different dealers for different type of products type thing. But we're working with a lot of the dealers and a lot of inquiries, and a lot of people right now are just kind of waiting to get bikes so that they can start, dealing them really.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is going to be interesting. And what will be cool is that just a big picture looking at the timing of it. It's like, okay, the first bikes that are already, the whole batch is already sold out as they arrive and hit, and then friends ride it. The wait time, I'm thinking, may be less for that second wave, that put a deposit down, the bike's already on the water.
Yeah. So it should be really good because, there's a lot of guys who have had deposits on since January, and we've been trying to appreciate their patience and everything, but we've been trying to get them here as quick as we can for those guys, but people have been super patient and waiting, but I think they're going to be really excited with what they get. But anybody else who puts in a deposit or goes in on the second, third batches, they'll be much quicker. They won't have to be quite as patient.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Oh man, that's God. I'm closing the website before I pull my credit card out. Very nice. Well, awesome. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I know that the bike has already gained a lot of attention, and I think as it gets into people's hands, and then you get that support from some of the aftermarket companies, not that it's necessarily needed, but it's nice. A lot of us are all tinkerers, right? We want to put the best things we can on something that's already perfect.
Yeah. I've been kind of playing with that, making my list on my ride back up the highway yesterday of little things.
Yeah. Nice.
But it's good.
Cool. Well, excellent. Well, I mean, any other things that we should know? Any other news?
I guess maybe some people, probably a lot of the information's out there, but some people always ask what's the difference between the standard and the pro model, the race model. But a lot of that information's out there, but just to kind of give you a quick rundown, the pro model will be with the carbon tower and the road book and all that for the true rally stuff. And then they also have the bibs in those, different ECU program as far as that goes, and a different exhaust system, Scott's dampener, different grips, a little bit taller windscreen. But most of the major expenses of the pro model versus the standard model is really into the navigation and stuff like that. That's where a lot of the majority of the price difference is. Mm-hmm. So if you don't need the navigation, you can get the standard one and then add the little bits that the race bike has if you're interested in that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be, to me, I think that would be the way to go. And especially because you've got a lot of the road book navigation stuff and a lot of the adventure bike guys that might get into some kind of navigation type stuff. I think that the tablet is going to be the easier the easier route for them. I mean, I love the paper road books, but I know the expense of a couple of ICOs and a road book holder and all that. So yeah. On that, I know there's a lot of guys pushing for the digital stuff on that. I guess the big holdup right now is the super fast guys have a hard time reading the digital stuff when they're going blazing through the road. Yeah. It's not bright enough. I guess maybe in years to come, maybe they'll all go digital. Who knows? Yeah. I've seen a few posts. I've seen a few different versions out there, and they're getting better, but I think it's going to get really difficult. I think what ultimately is going to end up happening is everybody's developing it. They're all going to come out with it at the same time. Uh-huh. And then the Dakar, one of the organizations, is going to pick one of those, and then the other guys may go by the wayside, which is going to suck.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I've talked to a few of the guys who are developing those, and trying to meet up with some of them. They're very interested in having those as an option for guys that want to put those on. But I hope they get them to where they're not a problem in their direct sunlight, and I think it's an awesome way to go if they can get it to that point.
Yeah. But I mean, and that's not to say for us mere mortals, we're not Toby Price. We're not Mason Klein. We're not Skylar Howes. We're not those guys. So it's okay. You can slow down a little.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm usually just using a little GPS or my Gaia app or something like that. And works well.
Just keep it simple and keep it with things that work, and ta-da.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, excellent. Gary, I appreciate you taking the time and talking a little Kove with us.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll be in touch. I mean, I definitely want to keep up with the news on it, and I don't know. Nope, putting my credit card away. Not pulling the credit card.
Well, we're working on getting some of the 800s too. I'll get some of those in here and see if we can get you on one and play around with those as well. I think people are going to be pretty excited about that one.
I want to say, is there one already floating around here in the States, back east somewhere? Or or was that a different bike that I saw somebody else on?
I'm not aware of any in the States yet on the 800 yet.
Must have been something else then.
Still a couple things we're working through on that, but nice. I'm actually hoping to be over at the factory here again next month to do some rides on the 800. But
nice.
Yeah, we'll see.
Excellent. Well, yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to hearing more about it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, sir, and I appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the interest and the support, and we're very excited about it. We're excited to get these bikes in the hands of the people that are listening to you. So
yeah, they're all over the place. So
yeah,
excellent. All right, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
All right. There you have it, Gary Goodwin. I'm excited. I mean, I really am. It's been a long time since, you've had the Hondas, you have the KTMs, you have the Hondas, you have the Austrian bikes, you have Kove, you have Suzuki that kind of stay away from where we're at in this off-road and desert type industry. What I'm curious to see. Okay, so here's what I think may happen. What I would like to see is the standard version with the race trim stuff on it. Somebody gets into the motor, maybe gets a little bit more pep out of it, and then we go and see a few of these bikes start racing Baja, start racing Vegas to Reno, start racing some of these longer point-to-point desert races. More oil capacity, more fuel capacity, a little bit heavier of a bike, yes, but that also means that it's stable. And if you think about it, you can hit a bigger rock and the bike is not going to deflect as easily as maybe one of the smaller bikes. Now, I'm talking as if I'm a professional rider, but I've heard it from a lot of people that have ran some of these heavier bikes that they are more stable and they are easier to ride to a certain extent over big desert terrain. So I'm very, very curious. Anyway, I think we're going to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing how fast batch 2 and 3 sell out. I think that's going to be awesome to see some more of these. I'm glad to see that Rocky Mountain and a couple other, Cyclops Adventure Sports, those guys are all starting to adapt to the bike, or not adapt to the bike, but consider making parts for it and do stuff. So I think that's going to be absolutely awesome. I am absolutely looking forward to it, and I can't wait. Yeah. All right, so that does it for this episode. That was Gary Goodwin talking Kove. Remember, guys, it'll make sense when you get there. Enjoy the ride. What's going on, guys? Victor with the Chasing Waypoints podcast. All right, are you looking to promote your brand to a worldwide audience on the podcast? Drop us a line at podcast@chasingwaypoints.com, and let's talk. See what we can do about getting you some more ears for your company and getting the word out worldwide. All right, that is the wrap for the Chasing Waypoints podcast this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you heard. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of others. Also, follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook under Chasing Waypoints, Instagram, Chasing Waypoints _official, and, of course, the YouTube under Chasing Waypoints. Hope everybody has a good week. We will see you guys for the next episode. Remember, shiny side up, and don't forget to tag us. We want to see where you guys are riding and what you guys are up to. Have a great week.